Welcome to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Lorianne Casdia. Our goal here at Healthy Lifestyle is to inspire, educate, and empower you to fulfill a healthy, emotional, spiritual, and physical life so you can feel empowered to live the life you have always wanted and dreamed. Welcome to the show. I hope you're having a really great day. You know me. I am a life and business transformational success coach, a #1 international best-selling author, an award-winning inspirational speaker, and humanitarian, as we all should be, right? And today, speaking of humanitarians, I am so happy to have Dr. Michele Gordon on today. Her life parallels mine, or our lives parallel each other in so many ways. And yet we came from different industries, which is really interesting. Dr. Michele comes from medicine, and I come from business industry, right? Business and politics. So it's really interesting how our lives parallel, but she's an amazing, amazing human. She ran a multi-million-dollar surgical practice from 2005 to 2020 and grew it to 5 surgeons. That's huge. All the overnight ER calls, the sleepless nights, the corporate medicine's lack of empathy for doctors, and generalized discontent with medicine led to severe overwhelm and burnout. Sound familiar? And her life as she knew it was no longer sustainable. And then, of course, we got hit with COVID, right? And then she was working in medicine. It became more and more challenging and dangerous for her family, for herself. And she simply entered the hospital and became really seeing that it became really complicated. So this superstar decided that she'd close a successful practice, oh my goodness, to recover. And that is really taking that step out of that pocket of being comfortable and going to do what's important to you. And as she healed, as she learned the possibility to bounce back and bounce back with quality without suffering. And she gained the right tools. And we're going to talk about that today. So I want everyone, please welcome to our show, Dr. Michele Gordon. Dr. Michele, you are amazing.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here. There's so many things I want to talk about. And I definitely want to get to your Launch Your Life that you have. It's a community of professionals. But before we get there, I want to back up the train and start with, oh my goodness, girl, what the heck? I walked away from a 6-figure business and started my own because I was done. What happened? How did you actually close that multi-million-dollar company?
Oh, it was really funny. I cracked the code to making money in medicine, and I made a lot of money on my own, and I was tired. So I hired somebody to help me, and I didn't really make any more, but I had more time back. So I was happy with that. And as things went, I thought, I can grow some more, get some more surgeons, branch out to more hospitals. And so that's what I did. And I ended up hiring 4 surgeons total. So 5, including myself, where I had 2 at each hospital. And what I realized as I started to grow the practice was that I really hated leading surgeons. Surgeons are a special breed that we have to have a lot of self-confidence. And we're hard to lead because we're the boss. In the operating room, the surgeon is the boss. And so it was a group that I did not love leading. And as I realized this, I sat down one day. I was like, why do I hate going to the office every day? Why do I hate these people I'm working with? What is, why is there so much discontent in myself and in them? And I did a couple things to try to mitigate it. I put some separation between myself and added a leader, and it just didn't work. And I was like, this sucks. So that was a big part of it was that it was, I still had to get up at night. It wasn't like I was able to completely replace myself. I still had to take call at night, and all I wanted to do was sleep at night. So I took a look at my bank account, and I said, this got to stop. I can't do this. And it wasn't just that. It was, I had a couple of I would say there wasn't any planning, but I had some thoughts of suicide, and I understood why people killed themselves when they were this unhappy.
Overwhelmed, unhappy. Yeah, it wasn't resonating to who you are.
No, it was not good. And then actually one of my surgeons did die by suicide. And that was in November of 2019. And that was a wake up call for me, because I was like, you know what? Nothing is worth this. If I have to lose my money, my happiness, my mental health are more important than money. And that was probably the biggest lesson for me.
There's another thing that you're saying here that's really, really important. You recognize that you weren't happy. You recognize it no longer resonated. You were trying to figure out like why, because you love to be a surgeon, you love to do what you do, but this wasn't working for you. And taking notice of that, those I call whispers, nudges, and hints from the universe to say hello. And unfortunately, you lost a doctor who was going through the same thing and made other choices. You had even considered those choices, but universe showed you, okay, you need to do something. You need to change something. And from big change comes way same level, big, huge, humongous opportunity to go in a different direction. And you took that opportunity.
I did. I took it, and I was happy. I mean, I'll tell you, I worked the first wave of COVID here in New York. And, as you know, we got hit the hardest of anywhere in America.
Yeah.
And we saw, people that nobody survived. And it was really scary going in and operating on somebody who had COVID, but also had a surgical problem, and if you think it's uncomfortable to wear a mask for 3 hours in the hospital, imagine wearing 3. So it was, and surgeons wear masks. So wearing a mask wasn't a big deal for me. The problem was, making sure that I was protected.
Yeah. Well, there's so many levels to that. Is that there was so much unknown. You didn't know how you were protected. We really weren't clear as to how it got transmitted. And yet you still were doing the job that you were meant to do, which was providing the surgery that particular person wanted. And you also had a staff that you had major responsibility for to make sure they were protected too. All of these levels of stress. Well,
it wasn't just that, I still had to make payroll, right? Yeah. And we weren't working. And so there was just a lot going on. And it wasn't hard at that point. What happened with COVID was administration really locked down on everything. And walking into the hospital was horrible. I didn't want to do it. Yeah. And if I didn't want to do it before, I didn't want to do it even more after COVID. Yeah. And administrations creep on small practices. And there's just not very many, independent practices anymore. Yeah. There's not anything. There's probably no independent surgical practices really, other than maybe some super specialists. And so the thought of going and being an employee was anathema to me. I could not do it. And I just said, I got to do something else. And so then, I had this online business I was working on. And in May of 2020, I had a moderately successful launch, made about $30,000. And I thought, hey, if I can do that 4 or 5 times a year, that'll be okay, cover my bills. Yeah. And then I kept doing the same thing. I did it a bunch of times more, and it just got worse and worse. And I was like, something's not right here. Something's not right. And I took a look, and I was launching to the wrong people. And there were a lot of reasons why, and I don't want to go into the specifics of that, but the focus was on helping women manage menopause. And I do have some really great products that are coming up for sale for menopausal women specifically.
And we'll have the link for that for anybody who's interested in, because it's for menopausal women, but it's a weight loss product.
I have two products. One is a weight loss product, and then the other one is like a menopause management system. It's called the Meno System. And it really is how to naturally manage your menopause. But that's a longer course. That's about 7 or 8 weeks. Depending on how long it takes you. There's 7 or 8 modules. I can't remember.
That sweating is just.
Yeah. Well, there's ways to manage that though. But the weight loss product, as you said in the pre-interview, the weight release product is just it's just a 4-week thing. And
But that also will drop the link so that if anybody's interested, and we'll have that below the.
It's really focused on anti-diet culture. It's not about, I've surveyed 50,000 women in menopause, and 48% of women, the first thing they say is, I want to lose the middle belly. And so we want to focus on that first, and then we can talk about what's really going on.
What causes that belly? Because
it's hormones.
It's hormones.
It's hormones, but it's also your behavior.
Is it cortisol and things like that, or?
There's things we have to change as women in menopause. We can't eat the same way. We cannot assume that we can eat the same way because we're losing our estrogen. And estrogen, what happens is when we start to lose the estrogen, we start to pack on weight on our bellies. Everyone does. Everyone. I mean, look at older celebrities. Even they do it, right? And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you eat or where you're going to gain some weight in your belly. But the difference with my program is it focuses on one habit a week for 4 weeks, and it gives you the habits that you need for a lifetime of change. It has nothing to do with diet.
I love this, Dr. Michele, that you are talking about habits, because and to do one for 4 weeks and then add another one or go to a different one. That's really important because it's sustainable. You can do it. Anybody can do it. Anybody can do it.
Yeah, it's just one simple habit a week, and they just get simpler and simpler. And it's just the main thing. Behavior change is hard. And we think, like, I want to lose weight. And it's not your fault that you're gaining weight in menopause. It really isn't. But there are things you can do to change it. And if you really want to have sustainable and sustained weight loss, you want to have a smaller body. You have to become that person who already has it. And it has to do a lot more with how you think and how you act because of the way you're thinking. It doesn't have a whole lot to do. It's really is more about behavior than anything else. And it's hard because we have to take responsibility, and not everyone wants to hear that. And so I'm probably pissing a lot of people off right now, but at the end of the day, the reason why I gain weight is because I eat, to feel good sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. And that's okay. And the one thing about this particular product is you don't have to exercise at all unless you want to. And while I'll encourage you to do some increased movement, there's no need to do it for this to work. And that's what I love about it more than anything else, because when you focus on one thing a week and you forget about everything you've learned, you're going to get some results. You're going to get the results you want.
Yeah. And remember, what we're thinking about happens.
Oh, what you think about expands for sure.
Exactly. So thoughts we think are what we're putting out in the universe, and it's going to come back to us 100%. So if you're not thinking about these other things and you're focused on this one habit, of course you're going to be successful. And it's similar. And even though, you may not have to exercise or anything like that, it's similar. Think about a car that you haven't started in a while. When you start it up, it hasn't been a while, all of a sudden you see the oil leaks and, it's crickety and it just needs a little love and tender care because it hasn't moved. So we have to keep our bodies moving. And my mom always said to me, she goes, she used to do crossword puzzles like a crazy banshee. And she's like, no, I do this to keep my mind moving, because as long as my mind moving, it's going to keep working. And I was like, all right, Mom, you do that. So I'd rather put hot pins in my eyes than do a crossword puzzle, but that's just me. I do other things instead. But, it's about moving and it's about habits. And even the crossword puzzle was a habit for my mom to keep her mind going and, just taking that walk. It doesn't have to be doing marathons unless you like to do marathons.
Right. No, it's true. I mean, just like I was running, when I kind of got in the heat of menopause a few years ago, I was running up to 3 miles a day and I was still gaining weight. And so it isn't about that. And that's how that is. And it really is, it does kind of segue into Launch Your Life, because Launch Your Life is really about habits. If you want to create the life of your dreams, you have to look at what you're doing every day. If what you're doing is sitting on the couch and watching Netflix, then what you're going to get is sitting on the couch watching Netflix. And that's fine. If you like doing that, that's fine.
Agreed.
But if what you want to do is write a novel and what you're doing is watching Netflix, then you're not going to get that novel done. It's just going to be a wish.
Yeah.
And so that's what Launch Your Life is about.
Yeah, wish is not actionable, right? So we need to take action, and I say this all the time, taking action with jet propulsion. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
So I know you made a very serious, before we get into this deep conversation about Launch Your Life, I know you made a serious decision. And what changed for you when you decided and you made a choice to put yourself first?
Yeah. I always thought that putting yourself first was egotistical or selfish. And I think that comes from the way we're raised as women in America. We're raised as servants to the patriarchy. So for me, I never really had a hard time like choosing what I thought was best. But I also oftentimes took it in stride with all of the rest of my responsibilities. When I decided to leave medicine, I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And the universe is going to have to provide for me another way, and I'm going to figure it out. And so, it's been a few years now. I'm on my 3rd year of retirement from medicine. And I guess it's, kind of the MBA of hard knocks, right? Learning marketing and all the things you've got to learn to create a successful online presence. And at the same time, the big shift was coming up with the fact that if I don't love me, no one else will. And that was it. Yeah, that was the big thing.
And you need to love yourself enough to realize that this no longer works for you, and it's okay. Well, I think we're so fearful of what that next chapter looks like that we avoid it, right? We'll do anything to avoid it. But if we're putting ourselves in a miserable situation where you don't want to get up every day and you don't want to go to work and you're not happy going to work, or it no longer resonates with you, it doesn't mean that you made a wrong choice. It's just time for you to move on. And that's the bridge. That's the gap. That's the hardest to jump. But once you jumped that, life changed for you. Yes, you had learning curves, right? We have to learn new tools. You never had to do marketing when you were in the operating room, right?
No,
yeah.
No, sick patients just come to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now you need to do marketing. Now you need to learn all these new tools, which is the fun, exciting part. And I always change the I have to I get to, because I'm everything into a game, because we get to do this and I get to change my habits and I have the choice. Life is about 2 choices. I wrote a book, Women Who Dream, and in it, it's about 2 choices, yes or no, stop or go, stuck or unstuck, forward or backward, whatever your choice is, it's perfect for you at that time. I just know when I was stuck, I got bored being stuck. I had a pity poor me party like there was no tomorrow. But then I was like, all right, I'm bored with this. Now what? And then you take that next step. So, I'm sure you had the pity poor me. I don't want to do this anymore. This sucks. I don't want to be here. And then you decided, all right, now I don't want that anymore. It was
boring. Yeah, I mean, actually, listen, boring, you might think that, listen, surgery is like the pinnacle of the medical profession, right?
Yeah.
We heal with steel. And for me, not only had I performed thousands of operations, but then I grew this practice and I got to play around with business and realized that I hate HR, and it's just not for me, and that's fine. Right. So that was great. But going back to the whole bit about your future self and choosing for that, right? The problem is that we tend to think of the future as this far off, nebulous, not me. And the sooner you can get to the point where you think of, that's me, that's the me I want to be, and I'm going to set the foundation for that me that I want to be. Like, I'm really happy that in my 30s, I exercise so much that I've got a good amount of muscle. So when I go back to lifting weights each time, because I, go back and forth with it, I have good technique and I know how to do it, right? So that's setting the foundation for my future self.
But everything that we have done in our past, if you turn around and look at it, set you up for right now, right here.
It does.
you
It
up.
does.
And all those success codes are already in you. You just have to tap into them. So you're just tapping into other success codes that you have within yourself because you choose to. You don't have to choose to, but you
Right. No. I agree with you. But I think it's also really important to realize that one of the reasons why we don't take action is because we view the future as other.
Agree.
You know,
Agree.
it's this nebulous, far off thing instead of it being me.
Yeah. A different version of you too.
Yeah.
You're listening to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. We're here speaking with Dr. Michele Gordon, having this great conversation. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come right back and jump back in. I want to learn more about Launch Your Life and really dive into that. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Lorianne. We're speaking to the wonderful Dr. Michele Gordon. I know we'll have her on many times because this is just too yummy to not have her on a lot. But in the meantime, if you have a question or if you want to be a guest or lift up your business, your product, your not-for-profit, give us a call, drop us an email. Our email is healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. That's healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. And as you know, I am a business coach and strategist, empowering, educating, and igniting people to take action with jet propulsion and monetize their message. So I've developed a proven 3-step system that will provide a strategy, make it easy for visionary entrepreneurs like you to take action. So if you want more information, just visit us at ldcstrategies.com or loriannecasdia.com. In the meantime, let's jump back in with our amazing guest, Dr. Michele Gordon. Welcome back, Doctor. We talked about your weight loss product. We'll drop the link in. So wherever you're seeing this, listening to this, or hearing this, you'll be able to see the link below. Click on it. Follow Dr. Michele Gordon at drmichelegordon.com. It's that easy. And then in the meantime, let's jump into, so you decided to make this change and you started this Launch Your Life. So how do you help people now? Because you just have service in your blood. You were a great surgeon, still are, but just don't practice anymore. You retired at this young age, you crazy loon, and you moved on to this new thing. So tell us more about this. How do you help people now?
So Launch Your Life is a program specifically for professionals, women and men, but mostly women come to me, who are kind of stuck. They're feeling stuck. They're feeling burned out and they're not sure of next steps. And what we do is we get really clear on the life that you want, and then we start taking action toward it. It's a 6-month program. And I have inside the program, there's 8 recorded lessons, and it's all about it's guided self-reflection. And I think that guided self-reflection is it's probably the most powerful way to quantum leap your life.
So let me stop you right there. So guided
reflection.
Talk about that. What does that mean to our listeners?
It's getting to know yourself. So what I do is I ask you a series of questions that you answer. The power of journaling I don't know if you teach journaling, but
I do.
Yeah, journaling is just very, very important to really get to know yourself. And when you have powerful journal prompts, when you have powerful lessons that then give you homework for you to write and present back to other people, that's when the magic happens. That's how you can quantum leap yourself into the next phase of life that you want.
Yeah. Stream of thought journaling is something that I teach, as well as the vision boards and things like that. But yeah, those tools are so important to get to know who you are, get to know what you want. You know what question people rarely get asked, if ever? What do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want? We never think about that because we're always handling other people's things, or people are telling me what they want or telling you what they want. But what do you want? And sitting down and thinking about that and really focusing on that in Launch Your Life. It's literally Launch Your Life. It's a brilliant name because it's your life. What do you want to do?
Yeah. I mean, I like to say that I help you I help you put yourself first after a lifetime of putting yourself last.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right. It's definitely societal here. We do put ourselves last, and we're always in servitude for everyone else. And we're told, not nice, you're being selfish. And it's not at all. In matter of fact, it's more selfish for you not to put yourself first, because until you know what you want, you can't help other people. It's that putting your oxygen mask on first scenario. I mean, I know it's been used to death, but the truth of the matter is that's a perfect example. Is I can't help anybody else until I help myself. So, and to learn what we want, we have to understand what we don't want. You learned what you no longer wanted. You wanted it at one time, but now you no longer wanted it, and that's okay, right? It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay to change. I mean, I spent 15 years, becoming a surgeon with all the education and the residency and all the things. And then I spent 15 years being a surgeon, and that was enough. Yeah. And it's time to change again. And it's okay.
That step of courage, I really want to talk about it, because it's courageous to take that step and jump out and trust, because universe, I will tell you, I promise you, I will even give you a permission slip. Universe got your back. Universe has got your back.
Yeah.
And no matter what you do, you will see, if you're looking for it and listening for it, you will see the nudges, the whispers, and sometimes billboards that are confirming you're on the right track, because you feel yummy and good. You can't wait to get out of bed. You can't wait to do what you're doing. I mean, I remember the days when getting out of bed, it was rough, and getting out of bed was my big win for the days that I actually got out of bed. That's how.
Some of the days, just taking a shower is the win.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's okay if that's your win that day. But then there are other days where I'm telling you, I'm taking the world on, you know, in a very positive way, because that's what we do. So talk about that courageous step. How did that feel? What did that feel like?
It felt like the right thing to do. It felt like, but almost like stepping off a diving board. And it was, again, I really thought that I was just going to see success with these launches. And instead I saw, it just wasn't going well. And, looking back at it, I can see some of the things I did wrong, but I also realized that I just don't really want to teach menopause live. That's not what I want to teach. I want to help people like me, people who have pivoted out of a professional career, or people who want to love their professional career and aren't. I want to help them to fall in love with themselves. And when you do that, magic happens.
Yeah. So I love that pivot. You pivoted. And even though you're looking at it as failure, or you weren't successful, or it was meh, right? It really wasn't, but for that, you wouldn't be here, because you needed to go through that. I did the same thing. I left a six-figure job, came and started my marketing firm, was doing that. And I'm like, I'm not feeling the love anymore. I don't really like doing that anymore. It's very foundational in my coaching. That's really important part of anybody's business. And that's why that comes as a really good tool for me and for my clients. But it wasn't giving me the love. The coaching is the love. But if I hadn't gone through that growth period and that period, I wouldn't know where I wanted to be. So from what I didn't want any longer, I learned what I did want. And that's what it sounds like. You went from, all right, this isn't working. I learned a little bit from it, and you kept moving on and learning. To me, those are successes. Those are successful steps. Listen, if you look at Hershey failed, and I mean miserably, his first 3 companies before he became Hershey. I mean miserably. You couldn't.
Oh, I understand. I mean, Disney, the same thing. I think he went bankrupt twice or 3 times. Yeah, no.
And he got tossed out. He was working for a paper when he was young, and they threw him out because they said he was the worst illustrator in the world.
Yeah, no, it's true. Every failure is a learning and a step to the next thing. And I don't disagree with it, and I don't feel bad about it. And as a matter of fact, I've made over 6 figures online, and that's more than a lot of people will ever make.
Absolutely.
So, I spent more than that, but at the end of the day, I have had success. It's just not the success I expected. I got lessons instead of the success that I expected.
So changing your lens is looking at those lessons as a success, because without it, you wouldn't be where you are today. Right. And every step we take and every lesson we learn gets us closer to where we're supposed to be and to the people we're supposed to serve. So I look at this building and that foundational, right now you're like foundational, right?
Yep.
You build a strong foundation, you can build an empire on top of that. So that's coming. It just has to come and keep our eyes on our own page. It's coming. And what you do for people is just amazing. I mean, you just set them up to launch their life in such a positive way.
I mean, it's been really great. I mean, some of the women who stayed in Launch Your Life from the menopause program have done amazing things with their lives. One of my clients had been thinking about a PhD program for probably 15, 20 years. And I said to her, like, what's holding you back? And she's going to complete it this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I had another client.
That's part of our job, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Another client who was living in Florida for the last 30 years, hated everything about it, and just started taking steps and moved out of Florida to Maine and living her life so much. She doesn't need me anymore. And she's left the program. And that's great, because as coaches, what we want to do is put ourselves out of a job.
Yes.
And, let people go off and live their lives the way they need to. And so
we teach them how to fly, and then it's like, okay,
yeah.
They come back though. They visit all the time.
It's very, very satisfying. And so I'm always looking for more people to join my programs. And, obviously there's some hoops to jump through, make sure that you're a fit, but, just reach out to me, join my email list, email me, drg at drmichellegordon.com. I answer all my own email.
Yeah. And yes, you do actually. It's really good. And I like, so when you came up with the Launch Your Life, what was the premise behind it?
Well, I started thinking about what I was really doing. I looked at how I had helped people in the past and what I liked doing about that. All the things I hated about the menopause side of things and all the things I loved about it. And I kept the things I loved. And what I helped people realize is that for that particular group, and for anyone in midlife, any woman in midlife, menopause is a launching ground for us to reinvent ourselves. And a lot of us do that. Oftentimes we'll change relationships. We'll end a marriage that hasn't been working for years, but we stayed together because of the kids. Or we'll, who knows, change careers. The kids leave and got all this free time. What am I going to do with it? And so it's a really good time in midlife to relaunch yourself. And I just love the idea. I'm a science geek, and I love science fiction and the idea of a rocket ship launching off. And that's the logo.
Yeah, and that's what you do. You do launch yourself, and it starts with habits, and it starts with belief in yourself, and knowing that universe gotcha. I love saying that, because the truth is it does. And the other thing, and tell me if you found this too, is don't chase the money. The money will come. The money. Yeah,
but money is not, I mean, I'll tell you, after making, I don't know, in the last 5 years of my practice, I think I made $25 million. And, a lot of it went out for expenses, and I didn't keep all that, but that's what I made. And what I can tell you from making that kind of money is that wherever you go, there you are. And what money does is it solves money problems. It does not solve the deep problems of identity. And if what you really want is to become a different person, I'll tell you, the best self-help activity is starting a business, because you have to work on yourself, because you are always the rate limiting step in your business.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're taking each step at a time. So, and that's why it's really important to have a coach or be in a program like this, because it helps guide you. That accountability level is really important. That's what helps people get out of their comfort zone, because we're right there with you. You take a step, we take a step. You take a leap, we take the leap with you. And if it lands badly in your perspective, we can adjust that and try it again. Nobody becomes that superstar overnight. They practice. Michael Jordan, he was not put on his high school team.
Yeah, he got cut from his high school basketball team.
He got cut.
Oprah Winfrey got fired. I mean, there's so many examples. Colonel Sanders, was he 62 when he finally sold, the Kentucky Fried Chicken recipe? I mean, it's never too late. It's never too late.
And you can start anytime on anything you want, as long as you feel it here. You got to have the fire here. If you have the fire here, you need to reach out to Dr. Michele Gordon. She's going to be able to give you those habits and take you to those next steps and give you that guidance, and from a knowing place, because you've been there. And that's where what makes great coaches is you have to have experienced that. That's one of the questions I always have people ask is, one, does the coach have a coach? And then two, which is really important because that says that you're coachable. And then two, most importantly, do you have any experience where you understand? I had one of my clients say to me, oh, Lorianne, you don't understand. You just don't understand what it's like. And I'm like, really? All right, let me share a little story. And that's when I shared my story. And they're like, I had no idea, because everybody sees you where you are today. Everybody sees you, Dr. Michele, where you are today. This super surgeon and successful at Launch Your Life and helping people improve their life and find out who they are. And they don't understand that, we both went through changes, and I call those pivots in our life, those opportunities where we have great tragedy and we have a great opportunity to make a change. It's whether or not we grasped onto it and did it. And it takes courage. So let's go back to that question, because you avoided it. How did it feel to once you took the step and you actually did it and you took that leap? How does it feel now? Like, does it feel?
Well, I feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose finally. I always felt like an outsider in medicine, and I don't feel like an outsider. I feel like I've really found my tribe in this group of geeky marketers that I'm in, and I love it. I really do. I love it, and I wake up each morning with purpose. And one thing that I was lacking was some structure in my day, and I finally set aside some, what we call sacred time to do a couple of things. And in reality, to really get something done, you need to spend an hour of focused time. That's it. And you'll get stuff done.
I call that my power hour.
Yeah.
I have my power hour in the morning, and I do all, meditation, reading, exercise.
No, I do one thing. That one sacred time is for writing. That's it.
Yeah. And whatever
the rest of it is before, but the hour is for writing, and that my day is, pretty much done after that. And it's like 9 a.m. I'm done, and it's great.
When are you writing your book?
So I have a book that I've got with the what is it with the person who's writing the foreword. And it's called Healing the Healer, and it's journal prompts for doctors to help them get out of burnout. And I'm super excited about that. And that's going to be available on my website for the cost of your email address.
When are you going to launch that?
So as soon as it's designed, I'm waiting. Actually, all I'm waiting for is the foreword. It's done. I'm waiting for the foreword. Then I have to design it, and it'll be on my website for the cost of your email address. Probably the next 2 weeks. I do not have a wait list set up for it. I've been having a lot of technical problems with my email, with my website. So I'm waiting for that, but that'll come. And then, so that's happening. And, I've got
a signed copy.
What's that? You want a signed copy? Well, it's going to be an ebook to start. So I'll probably sell it on Amazon. I'll probably self-publish it and sell it on Amazon eventually, but starting, I'm just going to give it away on my website right now. And then the other thing is, if you go to my podcast, launchyourlifepodcast.com, the last 7 episodes are a memoir. If you want to know more about me, I started this memoir series from 161 to 168 of the podcast. And the last episode was either in September or August, and I got a little overwhelmed with it. And so I stopped. And so I made it to like my teenage years, and I talked all about my youth and all the traumas I went through and resilience and that sort of thing, and how my brain was really elegant in keeping me alive through these traumas. And so that's that. If you want to get to know me a little better, that's a place to go.
Oh my gosh, this is so yummy, so yummy. I would like to invite you back. This is why I keep asking you. One, I have this propensity to be an accountability partner. So I'm like, Launch the book, launch the book. I'm a big cheerleader of you, Dr. Gordon. Healing the Healer. I want to bring you back when you have it on your website and you're ready to send it. I want to bring you back on whenever that is. I don't care if it's 2 weeks from now, so that we can get this out to everyone, because I think that's a really, really beautiful thing. You have such sage advice, and I think it's important to get what you're doing out there. And that's why, we've connected. The other question I have for you, and I'm sure you get asked this all the time, and I know I always ask my guests this, is what's your why? Why do you do what you do now?
Yeah. So I don't want people to take as long to figure out their purpose, their passion in life as I did. It took me so long to figure it out. And also, like, after leaving medicine, I didn't even know it was burnout until early, like at the end of last year. Like, why did I leave medicine? I was burned out, and I talked about it a little bit, but I never really allowed it to sink in. And so I just want to help you skip the line. That's it. That's my main thing. Skip the line and get to success a lot faster. And isn't that what every coach is supposed to do?
Absolutely. I mean, I talk, and you say skip the line, I say jump the hurdle. I rather walk around the hurdle, because I know where the hurdle is. So why jump it? Don't even use that energy. Walk around and spend energy on something more focused for yourself. So I love to skip the line. That's perfect. Love what you do. I think you're just a superstar. And congratulations for being so courageous to jump out of a very prolific job. And thank you for all you did during COVID. I mean, we can't be more grateful, especially I know you're in New York, and as am I, and we can't be more grateful for heroes like you. You are a heroine for doing what you did. And so thank you so much for staying in, not even knowing what you were really facing. So thank you for that. And thank you for what you're doing now. For me and for us, I think it's even bigger than what you were doing before, because Launch Your Life is going to change lives over and over and over again. So again, drmichellegordon.com. Reach out, give your email address to this beautiful woman, so that you can get the information, sage advice, and then of course her book coming out, Healing the Healer, which will be on drgordon.com as well. Thank you for being a guest today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's been fun.
Really appreciate you. And thank you for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I hope we earned the privilege of your time. I want to thank again our guest, Dr. Michele Gordon, one of my besties now. And thank you for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. Look for our show every Saturday at 3 p.m. Until next time, I am Lorianne Casdia. Play a higher role, serve a higher purpose, show up for you, and show up big. Show up really big. Bye, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you again, Michele.